identity and beliefs. And
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now. Get up, go to your windows, open them, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change.
How many stations does this go out?
You've got to get mad.
67.
Say,
I know it goes to Louisville and Atlanta.
I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil crisis. But first, get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell, and say, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
okay, so that is from the movie Network, which I believe came out in '79.
Let's see here. They probably got a...
One of the most prophetic movies I've ever seen. Predicts what's going to happen with corporate news, CNN, Fox News. You know, guys like Glenn Beck.
Yeah,
they're just total sensationalists. Glenn Beck had a similar meltdown.
Yeah.
He's probably heard of this movie, probably seen it, or his producer did. They're like, yeah, do that, or at least let's maneuver him into getting to that point. And you know, this guy, it's like, imagine Dan Rather, one of those, you know, Peter Jennings guys who are always, you know, as a news anchor, especially like an old school news anchor. It's like, you're supposed to be composed. Like that's a fundamental thing. Like, read the news, be composed, don't emotionally react. And you know, and don't put your own narrative on this thing. But now that's what they do. It's like everything is about the spin and my especially emotional connection to whatever it is I'm talking about. And I can't be removed. And I have to take a side on this. Like, is this good news or bad news, or what do I think about it? It's like, everything is so, you know, emotionally driven. But before that, like, I mean, you know, at that time, a newscaster doing that was insane. It's crazy. It would be, you know, almost like, you know, someone shooting themselves on the camera.
Yeah, we're like, no, we're the news. We're calm. We're delivering it to you the way it should be delivered, so that you don't freak out and
being very responsible. This is a public service. Okay,
yeah.
This is we've been given. You know, it's been mandated. We have to do this. That's the deal that the networks had with the government, because the government owns the airwaves, and they're saying, well, if you get to use these, just give us 1 hour a day to do the news, like a public service announcement, and do the rest. Yeah. And so this was that defining moment where, like, no, news is entertainment. We can make more money off the news, because usually the news division is like losing money. Yeah. Because it's, you know, people aren't into it as much.
Yeah, unless they need to be, you know, so sensationally.
The lady, the producer that's watching this is like, oh, you can see it. Like, we can make money off of this. Like, that's, you know, a corporation has bought this news company, and usually the news division of the network was like its own thing. They didn't have to kowtow to sponsors or, you know, the CEO, because those guys are all biased. They don't want you to report, you know, Oscar Mayer doesn't want you to report that the factory is full of disease,
Yeah. So what part of the movie did that appear in?
So this is great. This is at the beginning. This is like the inciting incident.
I was getting ready to say, this can't be climactic.
Right.
Because he's calling for people to yell in the street and say we're mad. I was like, that's not a happy ending of a movie.
It's interesting. It's an interesting monologue to start off with because it's atypical. It happens towards the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It's the inciting incident.
And so it's like, it's like correcting the fallout from this.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the movie.
For sure.
Got it. That makes sense.
It's a great movie. I think everyone's.
How do they solve that?
So, does he? No, someone shoots him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they turn the news into this like game show, and they're like, "What do you?" They have a big wheel with all the news stories on it. It's like, what are we going to report on now? And they spin the wheel. So there's like no prioritization. It's all been like gamified, turned into the news game. This news entertainment show.
Yeah.
And it get more sensational, and of course, like I think, somebody in the audience, because now they got like a massive massive audience for the news. Like, can you imagine like having a TV audience for the news? So they got a massive audience,
like a Colbert,
and I think
Fallon
there's
show.
like Black Panthers in the audience. But who knows? I forget who shoots him, but someone doesn't like what he's saying, and of course, like he's crazy, so he attracts other crazy people.
Yeah,
and I think that's what happens. Like the whole thing. Implodes on itself just because like he had some sort of psychotic break, but then they just encourage him to keep doing it because it's like people want to watch that. It's exciting stuff to watch.
Bringing in ratings.
Oh yeah, ratings and money. And so like the corporation that has bought the network wants profits,
right?
And this lady is young and ambitious, and she's like, well, yeah, the more people I get to watch this.
Yeah, it's crazy how you can kind of get distracted by what's best, by what's working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because ratings going up, views going up, that's working. Like, and that's reaching our goal, which is like profit, because it's a business, right? And it's news, and we need people to watch, and they're watching.
Right.
Oh, we're good.
Right.
But then it's like, well, what is best? Is if that stuff is just sensationalized, half truth to reach those ends.
Yeah, what's the greater good? Like it's not profit. Profit's great, but there's something better than that. There's a greater good.
It's always a hard conversation to have with I could see it all the time. Like, you've got your CEO of, said media company,
who's played by Ned Beatty in this movie, by the way. It's a very interesting performance, and he's like over the top. Like, yeah, when he gets that guy down. That's another monologue in this movie that's great.
Wow.
Apparently they did my friend saw this, if maybe before the pandemic, was like a Broadway show with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, let's see who wrote this.
Yeah.
Network. Written by Chayefsky. So, the best original screenplay. So it was an original screenplay.
Directed by Sidney Lumet. I've heard of that guy.
Directed by him, yeah. All right, what else did Patty Chayefsky write? Filmography. The Bachelor Party. The Hospital. Altered States. As far as TV shows, anything familiar there?
Not really. That's kind of crazy. I've heard of this. I've heard of Marty, I think, but
well, he won Best Adapted Screenplay for Marty in '55, and then he won Best Original.
The Hospital.
Twice. The Hospital and The Network. Wow, he had a good little run for 5 years there. Well, that's interesting. But yeah, you can always think about
yeah, this movie's been forgotten by
70, what was that, 76, 71 or 76?
79, I believe. and
right
has Ned Beatty, and also has
76.
the Napalm in the Morning guy. Yeah, it's got an amazing cast.
76, yeah. But yeah, you're always it's a pointless argument, like talking about doing the right thing to the CEO of a business, because you're like, okay, cool.
At least in a movie.
Well, I mean, but even in like real life, because like
Right.
the CEO's job is to keep the business profitable,
Right.
And if what's moral is doing the opposite, he's going to lose his job.
Right. That's like what I said, like the quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you can't convince a man if it's of something if salary depends on it not understanding.
Yeah. You just can't.